And joining us now is David Pautsch. David, so good to see you again.
Good to see you too again, John.
It's been 2 years, I think, since you were here.
Last election.
I imagine so much has changed in the past 2 years, it seems like, in this country, maybe the things that Republicans are focused on. How would you assess the landscape now, especially compared to 2 years ago?
We got hope. We're not under the tyranny of a deranged president who had no clue what he's doing, who was being handled by everyone except himself. So we've got hope. We've got a president in place who's got principles. And I know a lot of people, they like to get on Trump, but we have a president who's not a coward. He's a big thinker. He's a peacemaker. He knows how to use the economy and money and tariffs to bring about world peace and to bring prosperity to us. And he's doing it. It's just tremendous. Total difference between night and day. But the problem is when you wind up with a strong leader, take some of the colts in the corral a while to catch on. You got to ride these people and break them because they're used to being just renegades. They just aren't used to a good parent who says what he means and means what he says. It's a different atmosphere. A lot of people, but he's just a good parent. He's a good parent. He's got boundaries. He knows where he's going, and the monkeys aren't running the zoo anymore.
And how does that change then what you focus on?
Number one, I've met President Trump twice. The first time was in Cedar Rapids in December of 2023. I was part of a pastor's prayer meeting, and I introduced myself to him. I said, I'm David Pautsch. I'm a Gold Star father. I'm running for Congress. And he says, are you running for primary Miller-Meeks? I said, yes, sir. And he says, she's horrible. Well, that's what he really thinks. And about 2 days later, in a meeting over here at the Front Street Brewery, he had come to town to do a town hall meeting with Sean Hannity. And he basically turned this meeting into a referendum on whether he should endorse me or not. And I didn't see this, but a reporter for the Quad City Times later asked him, he says, are you going to endorse David Pautsch? And he says, well, that would be risky, but I can tell you this, he's a very good man. Now, anyone who talks that way about me clearly reveals themselves to be a genius, don't you think?
Oh, right, okay. But you didn't get the endorsement, did you?
No, they're still doing the political gamesmanship, but the lack of it means nothing because I got my endorsement back in December and been running with it. And that's the key. He knows that my opponent, Meeks, is bad because she's never endorsed him. She's never supported him. Now she's trying to paint herself and reinvent herself as a conservative. We all know different. She's cried wolves too many times. And she's voted against our Republican Party platforms so many times. Votes for gay marriage on one hand, votes with all these big bloated funding bills, sends $175 billion to Ukraine and shows no regard, no passion for protecting the life of the unborn. So she's a lady who actually called President Trump an insurrectionist and helped form the January 6th committee, voted to certify the 2020 fraudulent election. So have your positions. Do what you want. But if you're going to act like a Democrat, you might as well be a Democrat. Don't try and fake us out that you're a Republican. And she's not.
You have talked in the past, and we were just talking even before this interview, so much about your faith.
Yes.
And you also just brought up Republican values and the platform. I'm curious as to how those two, I imagine a lot of ways those align. Obviously, that's why you're a Republican. Yeah. But there may be times where those come into conflict, right? When the Republican machine says, we got to go in this direction, but maybe your faith tells you that's not the right decision. Are we going to get a David Pautsch who says, I'm sticking with the Republican platform, or a David Pautsch who says, I'm going to stick with my faith?
Nope, you don't get this guy. I'm not a finger in the wind guy. I play for an audience of one. I'm here to please and honor the Lord Jesus Christ. And if the Republicans go insane on me, you can be certain that I'm not going to support it. It's just a simple matter of having principle. Now, fortunately, the Republican Party platform is very good. It's biblical. It's constitutional. And that's who I am. I'm the only Republican, conservative, constitutional Christian in this race. It's not just a matter of a checkbox with me. And so I will be consistent to these principles. That is the first thing you have to do. We're one nation under God. We all ought to be playing to one audience. My dad was a pastor. People would come to him and say, well, I think you ought to do this, and I think you ought to do that. And he'd say, well, listen, I'm only here to please one person. And that's the way he operated. He taught me well. He's a great example of being a principled man. So you just have to, I'm not the go along to get along guy. That's the standard policy. It seems like most people, oh, you just got to give a little here, give a little there. I'm willing to compromise on the non-essentials, but on the essentials, no way.
Let's talk about the results of the last primary. Were you surprised at all? You got 44% of the vote. Were you surprised by that? Or did you think it should have been more? I mean, obviously you thought it should have been more, but that it would have been more?
Well, I was surprised that I didn't win, honestly.
Okay.
I had seen some third-party polling that showed us ahead, 68 to 32. I go, how in the world did I only get 44%? Everyone was so, oh, you did so well. I'm going, well, I'm not trying to be humble, but I thought I'd do much better because everywhere we went, people were opposed to my opponent. And people could, even to this, it's even worse. In fact, I just saw favorability ratings. She's underwater. She's in the basement. A 29% favorability rating, and so you go, how do you deal with something that's so apparently bad and yet not get the good results that you're looking for? So how we're going to come out this year, I don't know. But all I know is that last time, I didn't have the benefit of, I came in late, underfunded, unknown, and I missed all the parades, missed all the county fairs, missed so many of the fish fries and the soup suppers and what have you. But this year, we've done them all. In fact, as it stands right now, I've personally met over 23,000 people. Even though the deck is stacked against me financially, I've raised an embarrassingly small amount of money. But if you're willing to get out of the basement and meet people, you can level the playing field. And that playing field should be leveled because they throw, in the National Republican Congressional Committee, they throw all kinds of money at my opponent, and they wind up with millions. She's already spent $1.8 million against me. And so, but the counterbalance to that is just connecting with people.
After they meet you and they say, I like David a lot better than his opponent, do they then, when they're going to the polls, think, okay, but this, whomever I vote for has to go up against the Democrat. And this is, every year, for years now, has been a very tight district.
The left wants me to win the primary because they think they can defeat me in the general.
Right.
Well, they can think whatever they want. What they don't understand is that there are 30,000 more Republicans in the district than there are Democrats. So they're already starting out in the hole. And so here you've got my opponent. She's always eked out these razor-thin margins. Well, why is it? Because she doesn't run as a Republican. She runs a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, a little bit in the middle. She doesn't even know who she is. She just runs wimpy and wobbly. And so people look at her, they can't tell. She's indistinguishable from a Democrat. Well, she looks a little bit different than Bohannon does. I don't know, I guess. It's a big toss-up. Now, by contrast, Donald Trump won the district by 8%, and she eked out a victory by 0.2%. The district, the Republicans, don't want a 0.2% candidate, congressman. They want someone who's strong and has got the support of people behind him. So,
Are you saying they're just not voting then? They're just not even going?
No, they're voting, but
Who are they voting for?
they don't know who to vote for. So sometimes they vote for the Bohannon. Those in the middle, the independents, they go, well, I guess Bohannon's a little bit better, more likable than Miller-Meeks.
That independent, you think that independent will say, no, I like the even further right David Pautsch?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they like a principled candidate. That's why Trump did so well. I'm running so similarly to Trump. The reason Trump did well is because he runs as a Republican, he appeals to Republicans, and Republicans will vote for you, as will a lot of the independents who have abandoned the Republican Party because they see a bunch of rhinos who don't stand for anything. They're no different than Democrats. So I'm here to restore some confidence in the Republican parties, that Republicans are going to be Republicans, not these waffling little pantywaists who can't stand up for the truth. It's just as simple as that.
There's so many issues that we could talk about with a lot of specificity, but I suppose the big one that we can talk about is the war in Iran, okay? This has come to Congress in some way, war powers resolutions, et cetera. If this is still going on 6 months from now, more than that, what's your position on that? What would you like to see happen in terms of what the U.S. does? Because it is having an effect on people's pocketbooks, and that's how oftentimes people will vote.
Well, the key word here is a long word called temporary. This is just a temporary situation. Trump does not like long wars. They're expensive, and the only people who benefit from long wars are the global money powers. They've been doing this for centuries, and they get us into these long, protracted wars, whether it's in Iraq or Afghanistan or Korea, Vietnam, and they make out like bandits because that's part of what the military-industrial complex does because it's owned by the globalists. So Trump does not want any part of that sort of thing. And this is going to be a short-term thing. His track record is go in, surgically get the job done, and get out. As he did that with military, he destroyed Iran militarily. And someone needed to do this thing. We've been at war with Iran since 1979. People forget that little matter when the revolution occurred there, and they put the Persian people into slavery. So this is going to be done. We destroyed the military. Now we've got the squeeze on their checkbook, and they cannot stand up underneath it. They're going to cave in on this. They can't even pay their own military. Inflation is out of control in Iran because of the blockade in the Gulf of Hormuz. And so this is just a temporary situation. It's caused a temporary increase in gas prices and some of the food prices, but it's all going to be going away. Things are going to turn around in short order. But we have these cowardly allies over in Europe and elsewhere who can't seem to see that this is something that they ought to get on and crush this terrorist regime. You know, I saw a list of the top 20 terrorist organizations in the world. And guess what they all have in common? Islamic. They're all part of this tyranny caused by the doctrine of jihad. And here they are in the United States declaring war on us, infiltrating us, 3.5 million of them. And people are concerned about this, but in terms of the war in Iran, this is a necessary thing. It's long overdue, and we're going to be out of it before you know it.
All right, we'll see how it plays out. David, good luck to you. Always appreciate you chatting with us.
Hey, my pleasure.
All right.